One of them we know, one of them we don't know, but we'll find out about that as we go along.
Sounds intriguing. Yes, sir.
Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich, they'll be along. Buddy Landell will be here too.
That means we got problems. Let's go to Corey, where we got no problems. How about this first match, Corey?
All right, let's great crowd on hand today for USWA Wrestling. Our opening bout, one fall, 10 minutes in time, making his way to the ring area. 165 pounds from every woman's dream, sporting the, whatever it is, Reggie B. Fine.
What a way to start the day.
His opponent today on USWA Championship Wrestling, 222 pounds. Wrestling from Memphis, Tennessee, too sexy, Brian Christopher. One fall, 10 minutes, Kevin Christian. Referee, we're ready to go, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Corey. There he is right there, Brian Christopher on his way to the ring. I'm looking forward to this one, let me tell you. Reggie, I don't know if Reggie's ready to go or not. He had that big old fur coat or alleged fur coat on.
You never know
You
about
never know.
Reggie. Big physical specimen and the son of a gun can do it. But you never know exactly what he's got on his mind. We'll find out right now. As there is the bell, Brian Christopher, ready to get in there and tangle with Big Reggie.
Brian Christopher, one of the biggest stars in wrestling, on our opening match here today. Gives you some idea that this one is going to be chock full of excitement throughout. We've got a special surprise coming up for you. I think you're going to find it interesting. We did.
I feel like a little kid again, and that's not easy for me, but in that I know something you don't know. I think the wrestling fans are really going to get a kick, as obviously Brian got a kick out of that leapfrog right over the tall frame of Reggie B.
Yeah, well, that's not that hard to do.
No, you don't need any help, Reggie.
Yeah. Well, Reggie says, okay, I got everything set to go right now.
I got to tell you, we have not had it on USWA Wrestling before. You are going to get a chance to see the tape of that wild brawl that took place with Brian and the King and Rich and Gilbert. Good night. I mean to tell you, it was a night that I haven't forgotten to this moment, I can tell you that. Reggie, down on the floor, huh?
Well, he said he believes he was hit with a fist in the top of the head.
I don't know whatever gave him that idea.
I don't either. I didn't see it, but I don't doubt that he probably was maybe hit with a fist. Oh, yeah. Reggie says it's going to hurt him real bad if he hits him with a fist again.
Opening match today on an outstanding USWA program. Christopher, single leg dive, takes him down, takes that foot to the outside, getting ready to spring it. He's grapevine Reggie's leg, and Brian says, how about it? Oh, yeah.
That hurts over here, let me tell you. Brian wraps up on it again. Reggie's complaining, he's screaming, he's yelling. So far, he hasn't given it up. But that may be next. Look at Brian put the heat on it. Whoa.
Reggie B, middle of the ring. Brian takes it down and springs it again, Dave.
After that, Reggie may be hoping he hits him with a fist again.
Now, one thing I will say about Reggie, and I think he's a whole lot smarter than some of them. A lot of people may say it's chicken, but Reggie has no hesitation about giving up when bodily harm is imminent, I can tell you.
You're right. In a way, it's quite wise.
And, of course, he can also slip in there and he'll nail you with something before you know what's happening, too. So Brian better not get too cocky with him.
He worked his way over to the ropes, was able to grab on and pull himself under enough that the referee called for a break on the hole. That was a smart move on Reggie's part, no doubt about it, but he's limping around. Oh, look, sneaks up behind Brian. Here he goes.
Reggie playing a little possum there and caught Brian's back turn. Nailed him from behind. Scoop. Slam. Right down in the middle of the ring. Reggie starting a little strut. Brian Brian Christopher trying to fight his way back up. He's on his feet. Ripped to the midsection and a whip. Here comes Reggie. Oh, little slow, Reggie. Christopher with a whip, and it's reversed by Reggie. The slide. Went at him with that side kick, and he put him down the middle of the ring.
Reggie turned right into it. Brian's up on the ropes. Look out, here he comes, flying through the air. Boom, that's going to be it. I can almost guarantee you. It is it. The count of 3, and Brian Christopher. Good victory here today.
Okay, we got big action you'll want to see coming up in just a moment.
The Pepsi Cap Cam asks, who's got the blue caps? Pop quiz, you got the caps?
Oh, yeah!
And Brian staggers into the chair, takes the crutch. Doug Gilbert bleeding on his back, probably where he was nailed with that crutch. And Christopher being hung by that crutch over the rail. Referee Frank Morrell trying to break this thing up. Insane activity. Pulls the scissors out of his... I'm not even certain that's scissors, but he's got a knife or something. Lawler bleeding down by his right eye, the outside of his right eye. He put his best softball swing right on Tommy Rich across the back. Pile driver, and that's going to be it. Lawler will be disqualified for the pile driver, and he couldn't care less. It lasted officially 5 minutes and 15 seconds. Can I tell you, it's an eternity for these guys. Corey, what a wild, wild match.
Oh, indeed, and it's not over yet as Tommy Rich is busted open. Lawler's busted open, and they continue to fight it out in the ring. Jerry Lawler Paul drives Rich. Morrell called for the bell then, and all of a sudden a friendly touch from the audience here in the USWA has turned into a rough weapon that has been completely destroyed. Christopher with a boot from one of the wrestling fans. Nailing away on Rich and Gilbert. Man, what a fight, fans. You talk about grudge matches. This one has to go in the record books, Lance.
Lawler bleeding down by the right eye. Doug Gilbert the same way. Brian Christopher and Tommy Rich round out the foursome of wounded. And look at Christopher now with the boots. Lawler curls that crutch piece that broke in sections down and hits Tommy Rich in the back of the neck. Rich now going after Lawler as Doug Gilbert thrown out of the ring by Christopher. Brian grabs a boot. He's starting around the ring after Doug. Grinds it into his eye and continues to punish Doug Gilbert as Scott Bowden has been successful in the last few minutes of avoiding the conflict, Corey.
Oh, yeah. Look at Christopher. Over the top rope. Lands on Doug Gilbert. Right over the top rope. Oh, boy. Christopher sets him up for that big super kick. Oh, look out, Lance.
Whoa. Brian Christopher, where referee Frank Morrell deposited the two pairs of scissors, came over and grabbed one, and he's taking it after Doug Gilbert. Boy, I mean, enough is enough. Somebody just threw a crutch in there to Lawler to aid, hit Lawler right in the mouth as our table went over on the floor. Lawler with a crutch. Going after Rich. Rich puts his head right in the midsection. Lawler breaks this crutch over the table when he missed Tommy Rich. Rich with a chair swings at full steam right at Lawler.
Gilbert and Christopher over going at it. Now Gilbert's got on the belt and he hits referee Frank Morrell. He'll be fined or suspended or probably both for that. Doug Gilbert just nailed Frank Morrell. Frank goes out in there, Lance, and the fighting continues. Oh, man.
Scott Bowden choking Lawler while Brian Christopher put in the ropes by Doug Gilbert. And Doug Gilbert with that boot on his hand, and Christopher, using the slingshot effect of the rope, comes firing back off, nailing Gilbert, then Rich, and referee Frank Morrell goes after Rich, and he and Lawler send him.
They forgot Frank used to be a big-time wrestler, let me tell you.
Let me tell you, and enough's enough. And Frank came firing back. What a brawl.
Well, that was just in the ring, too. It wasn't over at that point either. It
Not by a
continued,
long
right?
shot. No, Corey and I went back to the dressing room to try to get some conversation and find out, you know, whether all this is coming about, whether these guys can get out there and do that, and what was on their mind. So we went back there. Well, I can tell you one thing for a fact. It was long from being over with by the time that we got back there. What was interesting in there is that everybody in there ended up being busted open. There was blood on every person that was involved in it, and it just was one of those things. And we were talking about, with all the crutches that were busted up in there, I wondered how that person ever got out of the Coliseum that walked in there with him. I sure hope so, too.
Ooh.
Because it was, take a look at this, and you'll see how it spilled over, too. Corey and I went back there, and you can see it right here. Well, I got to tell you, Corey, we've seen a man. Did you ever see a match like
What
that?
about never?
Bizarre is the only word that fits. We're back in the dressing room with Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert. I want to ask just one question. What do you mean bringing scissors into a match like that?
Scissors? There was no scissors. Tommy was there.
What, you think we're blind for crying out loud?
Russell, look at my eye. If anybody had scissors, they're the ones that had the dead gum
Let me
scissors.
tell you just one thing. Coming out there tonight, what you did, there wasn't no cows for it. Bringing scissors to ring. I'll tell you, my matches I've ever ringed before.
Why did you think you didn't have no business hitting me?
What do you mean I didn't have no business hitting
Who are you? Who are you?
I'm the referee. I'm the referee, and it ain't going to happen in the matches that I referee
What
from
are you
now on.
going to do? What are you going to do?
You bring them out there again, I'll show you the same damn thing I done tonight. That's what I'm going to do.
So you're suspended.
Yes, you should be. As far as I'm concerned, you are.
So we're suspended.
Oh, come on now. Typical. What do you expect? Doug Gilbert, Tommy Rich taking advantage of referee Frank Morrell down on the floor. Corey, see if you can get him out. Get out of here, Doug. Randy Hales, Eddie Marlin coming in. Scott Bowden kicking Hales.
Ridiculous, Lance.
Absolutely. Sitting over on Frank Morrell now with Tommy Rich pounding away on his eye. Doug Gilbert being pushed off by Eddie Marlin. Eddie knocked down. Referee Kevin Christian. Here's Lawler. Here's Brian Christopher. As they're tangling now with Gilbert and Rich. We've just seen a match full of the wildest action you've ever seen. Everybody was bleeding. Rich's eye is closed. He's bleeding profusely as Brian Christopher takes him across the room. And right there is when the camera got messed up. And that was what led to Eddie Marlin suspending those four guys out of here and wouldn't let them in the studio because of all the equipment in here. And of course, that's been taken care of. What a son of a gun that was.
You're right. That may be the wildest thing I have ever seen. No doubt about it.
Tell you. We got more of it. Got a great main event, six-person main event coming up later on. Be back to it in a moment.
Well, want to get some folks out here on the way to their match and see if we can maybe have them talk just a little bit about that wild action. Tommy Rich, especially, still bearing a scar or two from that and other matches.
That was wild, Dave Brown. You ain't even seen wild yet, Daddy. You ain't even...
Well, that was wild, no doubt.
Dave Brown, when you talk about brawls in the USWA, everybody likes to look back in the past and talk about Tupelo, Mississippi concession stand brawl. Tupelo, Tupelo, Tupelo. Well, baby, what took place in Memphis a few weeks ago makes Tupelo, Mississippi look like an ice cream social, baby. And you saw who was left standing at the end of it. Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert, and myself. We kicked their rear ends all over the Coliseum. And when I say we, I do mean we, because I got my shots in at them. And hey, what is going on here? Very conspicuous in his absence is Jerry Lawler. Where's Jerry Lawler? For the past few weeks, I've been out here screaming, Lawler, going, where's Lawler? I've been looking under the ring. I've been looking in the executive washroom. I've been looking everywhere. Where is he? Well, they're protecting him?
Keep looking. You may find a surprise.
Dave Brown, what the people can't hear on that tape was when I had Brian Christopher down and I was beating him, and I was beating him, and I was beating him. He said, please, please, Doug Gilbert, please, whatever you do, just let me have my life and let me get out of this, and I will never bother you again. And since then, Dave Brown, what have you saw? Have you saw Jerry Lawler? I don't think so. Have you saw Brian Christopher? I don't think so. So what has happened is Brian Christopher has tucked his tail and he has got out of Dodge City because he sees, see, when you walk in to these buildings, it's not the buildings that the king built or that Too Sexy built. We built these houses, and we built them, and that's all. You know, on an ending note, all I want to know is, Brian Christopher, Jerry Lawler, you brought in all the partners in the world. Y'all don't have no friends left to say, will you come help us with them two boys? Y'all don't have nobody left. Lawler, Christopher, y'all are going down. We'll catch you sooner or later, Jack.
Well, let me tell you, just pay attention.
You can run, but you can't hide, Dave Brown.
Well, I don't see him running that fast either. Let's go to the ring for Corey in the introduction.
Thanks, Dave. We're ready to go with tag team action on the USWA. Tag team action on USWA Wrestling today. One fall, 10 minutes in time. First introducing at a combined weight of 395 pounds from Cordova, Tennessee, Tony Williams. And his partner from Memphis, Tennessee, Corey Williams. Their opponents at a combined weight of 483 pounds, along with Scott Bowden from Atlanta, Georgia, Wildfire, Tommy Rich, and his partner from Lexington, Tennessee, Dangerous Doug Gilbert. One fall, 10 minutes in time. Lance Russell, Dave Brown, we're ready to go.
Well, I tell you what, when I listen to Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich, especially Doug Gilbert, I wonder if they are understanding the situation completely. Sometimes I think not. I think that...
What a challenge. This is the Williams brothers. Oh, my God. This is nothing but a tune-up, baby.
Well, tune up well. You may have a surprise waiting for you. I've been telling you that. You won't listen. Doug Gilbert was out here talking about his version of things, not necessarily reality.
Yeah, you called it right, too, Dave. They're so busy talking and blowing off steam about how they've run everybody out of competition, then they won't listen when you try to give them a little word of advice and let them know something. Scott Bowden down here kicking on Corey Williams on the floor, and now Doug Gilbert, who is the legal man, takes him up looking for a DDT right here on the floor. Suplex him. Oh, man. Right down on this concrete floor. Doug Gilbert slapping Corey Williams. Get him to count it out.
In the ring. It's not supposed to be out on the floor.
Gilbert throws Corey back in the ring, and he doesn't have any chance of getting across the tag Tony Williams at this point. There's a tag going to Wildfire Tommy Rich. Ripping right hand into the ring. Knee lift, and down Corey goes, as if he needed any more trouble after that slam down here on the concrete floor. In the air, and a big spike, it looks like, coming up. Version of the power bomb, not exactly Sid Vicious style, but it was enough to let you know that 1, 2, 3 is not far behind.
Well, there wasn't much doubt. After they slammed him down here on the floor, Corey was never able to get going again. Corey Williams is pinned by dangerous Doug Gilbert. The count of 3 falls, and they've got themselves a victory. They call it a tune-up.
Time for us to take a break here, and we'll be back. Plenty of action yet to go.
Dennis Hall's Auto Salvage, home of 1,000,000 parts. Call or come by 3100 Gill Road and see Dennis Hall's large inventory of both domestic and foreign parts. Bumper-to-bumper body parts, used and rebuilt engines and transmissions. They also specialize in both new and used glass replacement for all makes and models of cars and trucks. For steering column and theft repair, Dennis Hall's guarantees the lowest prices in Memphis.
Hi, I'm Dennis Hall. For the best prices in town, come on down.
Excuse me, I'd like a junior bacon cheeseburger made with fresh beef and 2 full strips of bacon. And I'd like that hot, right off the grill.
You want it hot? We'll make it hot.
Most places don't serve hamburgers hot off the grill. They reheat them. Not Wendy's. We make our 99-cent junior bacon cheeseburger with fresh beef, 2 full strips of bacon, and we make it right when you order it, hot off the grill. We think it tastes better that way. You'll find it on our 99-cent super value menu.
It's everything you'd expect from Wendy's.
Buy a new car now with the holidays coming up? At Graceland Dodge, we hear you. So for a limited time only at Graceland, buy a new 95 Dodge car, truck, or van, and you'll make no payments till February 95. Look at this 95 Ram 1500 truck. It's only $252 a month and no payments till February. Or this 95 Caravan, only $271 a month and no payments till February. So save your cash for the holidays at Graceland Dodge, the only 5-star dealer in Memphis, just a few minutes from everywhere.
When he was 6, his first heroes were sports heroes on TV. As he and his cousins played street football, they copied the games, the moves, the spirit. When he was 10, he played basketball at the boys' club. He played tight end on his high school football team, and he learned about teamwork, winning, losing, and fair play. Lee Owens has a special feel for the game, the competition, the edge it takes to win. Lee Owens on Action News 5 Sports, weeknights at 5 and 10.
Still got a big surprise to go for you right here. In addition to that, a 6-person tag match is our big main event. And here comes a young man who did very well in the opening bout as he defeated Reggie B. Fine, talking about Too Sexy Brian Christopher. And he was right up close when all that brawling was going on.
How you doing, Lance?
Max.
You know, I'm really fired up today. I'm really fired up, and I was sitting back there. I was watching the TV monitor, and I saw Doug Gilbert, Tommy Rich, and Scott Bowden come out here, and they were yelling and screaming. They were telling you what all they did in that big brawl that we had. Well, I'm out here to tell you the truth. I'm out here to tell you my version, because my version is always going to be the truth. What the truth is me, myself, and Jerry Lawler, we had Tommy Rich, we had Doug Gilbert, we were beating the living daylights out of them. We the ones that had them down on the mat, screaming and yelling like a couple of babies. But they're the ones that brought the scissors into the ring, Lance. Yep. You know it. Everybody that was there knows it. They brought the scissors. But luckily, we got fans out there that threw us things like boots, crutches, chains, and all that kind of good stuff, you know? But Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert ended up getting a taste of their own medicine, because did you see that big patch Tommy Rich got over his eye? Yep. That is where he had to go and have himself stitched back together, because we got our hands on the scissors. But Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert, the reason I'm so fired up today is because we got a big, big match coming up this Monday night. And when I say big, that means I got a big surprise in store for you. And you know, every time you wrestle those two guys, Lance, you always got that Scott Bowden running around the ring. You've always got that little Germantown geek, that little high school sissy running around the ring trying to cause us problems. Well, this week, boys, we got a big, big surprise for Scott Bowden, because we got a six-man tag that's going to put Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert, and Scott Bowden on one side, and then you got myself, the King Jerry Lawler, and our special partner. And our special partner is legendary in this area. Our special partner, his name is synonymous with the word toughness. And I wanted to be the one to come out here and tell all these people out here who our partner was. I wanted to tell everybody sitting at home who our partner for this Monday night was going to be. But Jerry Lawler is up in Boston, and he begged me. He said, Brian, let me tell all the people. I can't be there live and in person, but I want to tell them on live via satellite hookup. So we got Jerry Lawler live out of Boston. If we can hook it up, let the Kingfish tell all the people who our partner is going to be Monday night.
Yeah, Brian, I'm here. As a matter of fact, I'm here in Boston, Massachusetts, getting ready for some big matches here at the Boston Gardens tonight. And it's been a little noisy so far, so I hope you can hear me okay. As I said, I'm here in Boston, but I wish I were right there in Memphis at the studio right now, because I would love to be able to hear the reaction of the Memphis wrestling fans when I announce who our tag team partner is going to be for Monday night, because I know it's going to be tremendous. Now, I've had some great tag team partners in the past. They know that whenever the King's been in trouble, I've been able to pick up the phone and I've been able to call some big names. Guys like Jackie Fargo, guys like Handsome Jimmy Valiant, guys like Austin Idol. But the man that's going to walk through that curtain in just a couple of seconds is a guy who, together with myself, held the USWA tag team titles longer than any team in the history of the Memphis wrestling. I mean, we've beat them all. We have been the most successful tag team there ever. And now he's coming back Monday night to be my partner and your partner, Brian. And I can't wait. And Doug Gilbert, you, Tommy Rich, and Scott Bowden, you're not going to have to wait any longer either, because I'm going to tell you right now who our partner is going to be. None other than the superstar, Bill Dundee.
Well, we tried to tell you we had a surprise, and they wouldn't listen. Oh. There he is, the superstar, Bill Dundee. Brian called it right a moment ago. When you talk about toughness, well, there it is. Just think of Dundee. Many have said the toughest guy pound for pound in all of the business. Billy, what a great pleasure to see you again, buddy.
Well, before I get started, I just got to say something to BC here. The last time I was here, brother, you was on the other side of the fence. Now, if you ask the King to ride into hell and back, he'll do that. I just want you to tell me you'll do the same thing.
Bill, I'd have my bags packed and waiting on you. That's all you got to know.
All right, brother. Now, Scott Bowden, where's he from, Germantown? I guess when we had the Tupelo brawl, you was crawling around on the lounge room floor, brother. Well, let me give you a little synopsis of that tag team you got. Tommy Rich, you had your first match against Phil Hickerson. And God rest this guy's soul, Jerry Bryant, and you had your third match against George Barnes and Bill Dundee in Tupelo, Mississippi. And Bowden asked Rich what happened then. You know who won that match. You was an egg-sucking dog then, and you're an egg-sucking dog now, and you never change. Now, brother, you know what egg-sucking dogs do, brother? When it gets going too tough and rough, they go back to the barn looking for more eggs, and that's just what you're going to do Monday night. Now, the other one you got, Bowden, is Dougie Gilbert. A walk behind her. That's all he does is walk behind. When he started, he walked behind his daddy, Tommy. Then his goofy brother, Eddie. He walked behind him. Now he's walking behind you, Rich. And you know why he does that? Because when it gets going rough and tough, brother, and you switch it around, he's in the front, running to the back. And that's exactly what you're going to do Monday night. So, Bowden, I've done this a million times. It's about 225 steps from the back of the Coliseum up into the ring. And when you get about 25 more steps to go, brother, you look up in that ring and you see Brian Christopher. You see the superstar, and you see the King, Jerry Lawler. Then it's going to flash through your head. What do I have to protect me? an egg-sucking dog, and a walk behind her, and they're going to leave you, boy. They're going to leave you. And if you think the blood was thick last week, you can't do no more to this face. Take a look at it, brother. It looks like a map of Texas. It's been busted open by the best. And if you think Rich, if you think you Gilbert, and you Burton, you little Rich, nothing happening, you're going to do something to this. Yeah, you're right. I've been around a while, and I'm going to just show you what I learned. So Monday night, punk, you bring them two boys, and you're going to get your butt kicked all the way back to Germantown. And that's all I've got to say.
I'm glad the superstar's fired up, and I'm glad to see him back, as I'm sure all these people are glad to see the superstar Bill Dundee back right here, except for Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert, and Scott Bowden. You're in for the fight of your life Monday night, boys.
That's right. Hey, Kingfisher, you still around? He's still floating around up there somewhere.
Yeah, Bill, I'm still here.
All right.
And I will be there right at the Mid-South Coliseum Monday night for what is going to be, this has got to be the biggest tag team match that I've ever been involved in. Me, Brian Christopher, and superstar Bill Dundee. Tommy Rich, you, Doug Gilbert, and Scott Bowden are in for the beating of your lives, and that is a promise.
Whoa, well, the superstar looking dapper is back with the King and Brian Christopher. What a match that is going to be indeed. Let's take a look at the entire card that's coming up at the Coliseum Monday night. It is going to be one of those things that you're going to wish that you were right there if for some reason you can't make it down. It's those kind of things that where you say, yeah, I was there, because this is going to be it. Starting out 7:30, let me remind you of this, $2 off of every ticket for children 12 and under in any section. It's something that's become very popular, and we're delighted that Eddie Marlin and the promotion is continuing it. Opening bout is going to be the Tragedy Phantom going against Tony Williams, to be followed by Sorrow from the Phantom team going against Jeff Gaylord. Then in a title contender match, it'll be the Spellbinder going against Nature Boy Buddy Landell, and a return lumberjack match with no disqualification. You saw it here on television, Miss Texas and Fantasia with the lumberjacks around the ring to be sure that nobody runs off, and no disqualification. And then will come a USWA World Tag Team title match where the Moondogs, current holders of those titles, will be defending against a team that you're going to be meeting in just a few moments, a brand new team of Beauty and the Beast, as Ron Harris and his partner, Gorgeous Jimmy Harris, will be trying to take the titles away from the Moondogs. Not an easy job. And then will come a unified world heavyweight title match, but can I tell you, never before has anything like this happened in Memphis. Take a listen. Sid Vicious has agreed, because he has run off all of the competition, having faced the very best in the world with the King and the Undertaker and Mabel and so forth. He'll take on anybody that's on that card. Listen to this. A fan is going to get an opportunity to make a selection from the people who are on that card for Sid Vicious's challenge for that unified world heavyweight title. Whoa, it could be anybody. It could be Jerry Lawler. But wait a minute. Sid said no more for Lawler. However, he has waived and said he will take on as an opponent anybody on the card that the fan happens to pick. So you have got a great pleasure of seeing a unique circumstance where the fan becomes the matchmaker. You think that job's easy? Eddie Marlin has fought with that time and time and time again to bring in the best. Some fan is going to get the opportunity to take over that job and say, well, here are all of the potential competitors. Who is going to give the best match and have the possibility of becoming the new unified world heavyweight champion? That will take place on Monday night. Whoa! Is that it? Not by a long shot. You heard about it. A six-man match. One side of the ring, Wildfire Tommy Rich, Dangerous Doug Gilbert, and Scott Bowden. And look at this formidable group on the other side. the King, Jerry Lawler, the superstar, Bill Dundee, and too sexy, Brian Christopher. I mean, 3 guys that can take on any 3 people in the world, and Bowden, Gilbert, and Rich, you're the ones that will have the problem of facing them come Monday night. Remember, 7:30 bell time. Also remember, you can save $2 on any of the kids' tickets, no matter what section the tickets you're buying. Save that $2 for 12 and under, and we're looking forward to just a sensational night. I want to be there. We're looking forward to having you there. We got more action right here coming up in just a moment. Well, for those who have not heard, returning and to the USWA, the superstar, Bill Dundee.
I've seen him a bunch of times. I remember when he got here first, part of the Australians with George Bonds.
You remember, Dave, how that they used to stand out there in front of us and bust each other till it looked worse than a lot of matches I've seen. And I thought to myself at the time, that's the toughest son of a gun I ever saw in my life. And I tell you what, we haven't changed our opinion yet. I guarantee you. The superstar has had many a highlight. We want to take a look at some of them. But Summers grabs Billy, who was still. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. Got it! We have new World Tag Champions, Lawler and Dundee. Throws him into the ring. Dundee springing that leg of Danger Leg. Thrown into him, knocks Adrian down. 1, 2, 3, and Dundee's the winner.
Wild boys are calling on their way back from the fire. An August moon surrender to a dust cloud on the rise. Wild boys falling far from glory, reckless and so hungered on the razors that you trail, because there's murder.
And as Taylor went up, Dundee speared him, and Dundee is the new Southern Heavyweight Champion.
Well, I tell you, he is tough. There's no doubt about it. Coming out here right now, a couple of guys that have got to be a little bit unhappy about the announcement that was made just a few moments ago.
You're crying, Dundee's back. You know, Bill Dundee, you said one thing. Tupelo, Mississippi. You and George Barnes did teach me a lesson. Y'all beat the daylights out of me. But Dave Brown, now I want to ask you a question. When George Barnes left, Bill Dundee's career went on a skid, didn't it? Because George Barnes was the man of the team. So what I'm saying is, I remember in Memphis one day, riding down the road, and I looked over at the Mission, and there stood Bill Dundee in the soup line.
Well, your recollection is different from that of most of the fans here.
Well, let me finish what I'm saying. And as far as Dundee, I got Dundee. I went to the promoter. I said, please, man, I feel so sorry for Bill. He's down there having to get soup out of the soup line like a lot of these stinking rednecks out here do. So what they did, they said, okay, Tommy. So that was fine. I got Dundee back in. And then, all of a sudden, I look and here's Dundee with the promoters all the time. And he's doing a lot of this, if you know what I mean, Dave Brown. So what I did, I'm a man that does what I do on my own. Bill Dundee, you've always asked somebody for something. So what I'm saying, I went to Atlanta, Georgia. I held the tag belts. I held the Georgia heavyweight title. And then I won the world heavyweight title, Dundee. You ain't walked nowhere I hadn't been, brother. So you get with Brian Christopher. You get with Jerry the King Lawler. Because you're in for one of the worst whippings you ever had in your life.
Well, again, your version's a little different from the fans, but it doesn't matter. You got to face him this week.
Well, see, Dave Brown, just like these stupid idiots right over here, Dundee wants to come out here and call me a walk-behinder. He says I never could carry the load myself. Well, the only thing I've ever walked behind is the USWA heavyweight title, and that was 5 times, Bill Dundee. What you don't realize is when I was growing up, Bill Dundee, I had just a little bit of respect for you, about that much, about your height. But what I'm telling you, we don't have to talk about belts. All we've got to talk about is blood, guts, and tears. Dundee, do you have a heart? I know you're supposed to be the smallest tough man they've ever been. I'm 206 pounds, 5'6". I can do it all. But what you've got to do, boy, you've got to walk through 2 of the toughest men they've ever been in this world. You just remember, Bill Dundee, heaven don't want us and hell's scared to take us. So, Brian Christopher, this is it.
Well, you got 2 of the toughest men. They've got 3 of the toughest men. Which one would you like to take on?
Hey, baby, I'm not going to have to take on anybody with those 2 on my side. Brian Christopher, you come out of here with Dundee calling him a legend. A legend is just a nice way of saying somebody's washed up, Dave Brown. You understand that? You talk about me being from Germantown. I'm going to show you how a rich boy from Germantown handles white trash. This week, baby, I can promise you that. You talk about getting a hold of me, well, I'm going to have my running shoes on. So catch me if you can, boys.
Better have 2 pair of running shoes on if you want to stay out of their way. Let's go to the ring for Corey in the introduction.
Okay, Dave, we're ready to go. 1 fall, 10 minutes in time. Single bout here on USWA Championship Wrestling. First introducing 162 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee, Edric Hines. His opponent today, 233 pounds from Jacksonville, Florida, the Nature Boy, Buddy Landell. 1 fall, 10 minutes. Kevin Christian is referee.
Okay, Corey, we are ready to begin this single match with Edric Hines and Buddy Landell going. I'll tell you one thing, Dave. You look around, you can't turn a corner in the USWA without running into some kind of tough guy, and we got one of them in the ring right now.
Oh, we sure do.
Well,
Buddy Landell. Yeah, he's out of the ring, and he's working on Edric Hines down here on the floor. Look out. Ooh, head right into the turnbuckle. Buddy Landell, he's rugged. He rolls Edric Hines back into the ring and immediately plants a boot across the top of his head.
In addition to that, this is on one of his good days when he's feeling good. It shows you. Landell picks Hines up and dumps him down hard. Takes the bottom of that foot, rakes it right across the head of Edric Hines, and a zipping right hand. And poor Edric is kind of in the position that Corey Williams was a little bit ago, David.
He's in trouble, no doubt about it. Man, we've had some big action already today, and don't forget, big main event coming up. 6-person main event, Miss Texas and the Moondogs against Fantasia and the Phantoms. We'll put them all in that ring right there coming up in just a few minutes. Uh-oh, the figure 4, that's probably going to be it. It is. Yeah, there's not much way anybody can continue when Landell sets up on that one good, and he had a good one on Edric Hines. And there's the victory for that man right there, Nature Boy Buddy Landell.
Yeah, we've also got a brand new tag team we're going to be meeting, Beauty and the Beast, coming up in a little bit. Take time out. We'll be back. Hurry to get to it.
All right, we're back on USWA Championship Wrestling. Going to tell you about USWA Wrestling on tour here in a moment. First, I want to talk to a young lady about a match coming up. Monday night, Mid-South Coliseum. It's a return lumberjack match. It's not over yet for Fantasia and this lady, Miss Texas. Coming up down there Monday night at the Mid-South Coliseum, Miss Texas is going to be one-on-one with Fantasia and a return lumberjack match down there.
You know, last week, I was in a lumberjack match. But every time you look around, someone jumping in the ring. Well, Monday night, Fantasia, I got you one-on-one. You can run, but you can't hide. And when I get my hands on you, you're going to wish you never heard of the name Miss Texas.
Miss Texas. Run, but you can't hide, Fantasia, she says. Look out for that bout. Just one of the great bouts coming up down there Monday night, Mid-South Coliseum. Let's tell you about all of the USWA Wrestling on tour beginning in Selmer, Tennessee, Thursday night, November 17th in Selmer, Tennessee, there at the Selmer Civic Center. And you see the big car there in Selmer. I understand it is a great, great place there at the Civic Center. A lot of money has been put into renovating a beautiful establishment there in Selmer, Tennessee, where USWA Wrestling will be at the Civic Center there. Big Moondog Battle Royal on the card. Brian Christopher taking on Tommy Rich, Buddy Landell, and Doug Gilbert. Moondogs, the Phantoms, Miss Texas will be in Selmer. Also Fantasia. Hey, you can save $1 on advance tickets if you pick them out right now for wrestling. In Selmer, Tennessee, Thursday, November 17th, 7:30 is the bell time. There at that new, good-looking Selmer Civic Center in Selmer, Tennessee. Wrestling coming up in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Saturday, November 26th, Jonesboro, 8 p.m. Earl Bell Community Center on Church Street. Super night there in Jonesboro as always. USWA Top Stars will be in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Saturday, November 26th, 8 p.m. bell time there. That is USWA Championship Wrestling on tour. Nothing like being there, seeing it live when it comes to your town, fans, let me tell you. Nothing like being there Monday night when the superstar, Phil Dundee, returns. Mid-South Coliseum, I'm going to be right down there. We're looking for you Monday night. Looking for you to stay with us here as Miss Texas and the Moondogs come back.
Okay, you think we're through? Not by a long shot. Man, we have had a bunch today. Plus the announcement that the superstar is back, and we're glad to have Billy back. Here's somebody that you haven't seen in a long, long time. You may not recognize him exactly because it's been a while. We're talking about Big Ron Harris.
You talk about they don't recognize me. People do not forget. They know who the Bruise Brothers are. They saw some of the roughest matches ever in the history of the Mid-South with the Moondogs. You see, I come from one of the most prestigious, roughest families in wrestling today. Not legendary families of the past. My brother's down in Florida, or he's down in Puerto Rico, wreaking havoc only like the Bruise Brothers can. And you remember my cousin, Prime Time Brian Lee, who's one of the best wrestlers in Japan today. Now, I've got another member of my family that I'm going to bring out here, gorgeous Jimmy Harris. He's built like a god and has the looks to match. This man has it all. Jimmy, gorgeous Jimmy, come on out here. Look at this guy. Come on out. You have to get excited. Come on out here, Jimmy. Step up here. Throw a pose on him. Turn around there and show them what this body is. Show them arms. Oh, yeah.
Well, if he's got that Harris bloodline, I got to tell you, it's tough because we've seen
He's got it. He just has the looks that we're not blessed with. But, Moondogs, you don't forget, you're talking about the Harrises. Brian Christopher, Jerry Lawler. Brian Christopher's supposed to be sexy and pretty. You don't match up to this. Moondogs, I'm glad to see that you're back on top in the Mid-South, because now we're going to step right back in to where we left off. It's blood and guts time, and we're going to get it on, and we're going to tear every building down that we come to. So go back in your head, Moondogs, and get ready, because we're coming to you, and you're going to see the new tag team champions in the Mid-South. Beauty and the Beast. This is the Beauty, this is the Beast, but we still got that line.
Well, there he is, and he's the one that said it, and I'm glad that I didn't bring the question up myself, Dave. Which one was the Beast? Let's go to Corey and get ready for it.
All right, Lance, I don't think he's as pretty as you are, but we're ready to go with tag team action here on USWA Wrestling. First introducing a combined weight of 363 pounds from Nashville, Tennessee, Eddie Givens, and his partner from Memphis, Tennessee, T.D. Steele. Their opponents, a combined weight 560 pounds. Here is Beauty and the Beast. From Orlando, Florida, Ron Harris and gorgeous Jimmy Harris. One fall, 10 minutes. Kevin Christian is referee.
All right.
What do you think?
Well, I tell you, you've got the makings of a good one here. You got Beauty and the Beast, Ron Harris, and gorgeous Jimmy Harris. And you also got the very confident T.D. Steele in here, but, oh, maybe not confident for too long. Man, wow. He jumped into the fray, and he was backed down quickly by big Ron Harris.
This is, we're talking about with Ron Harris, we're talking about Sid Vicious side. This guy is huge. And his brother, Don Harris, just this big. And their cousin, primetime Brian Lee, not quite, but very close to being the same. And Jimmy Harris is cut a little bit different, but brother, he's a massive piece of muscle in there.
He didn't waste any time taking charge. He's working Eddie Givens over in there right now. Yeah, Ron and Don Harris, twins. I have a very difficult time telling them apart when I see them together.
Yes.
But that means they're both big, they're both tough.
Ooh, belly to belly. I mean, whipped Eddie over and pounded Givens down on that mat. T.D. Steele, the partner, he might be glad that he's not in there. He had his taste of it, and now Eddie Givens. Fireman's carry up on the shoulder. He's got him. And he back slams him right down on the mat. That's gorgeous Jimmy Harris. That is Ron Harris, who drops down with all the weight and all the muscle. Bam! He got it.
Well, I'm impressed. They're a big, tough tag team, and they're probably going to mean trouble in the USWA.
Back in just a moment.
Tell you what, Monday night is shaping up to be one of those big, big nights at the Mid-South Coliseum. Already the big announcement by the King that they're going to have a special partner along with Brian Christopher and the King.
Yes.
The superstar Bill Dundee. $2 off tickets for kids 12 and under in all ticket sections. USWA continues that policy to make it easy to bring out the whole family. We've had some great crowds lately looking for another one Monday night.
I can't take my eyes off that Fan's Choice for the World title. What a unique thing that is. Oh, we'll get to it. Let me start out here with Phantom Tragedy going against Tony Williams in the opening bout, followed by the Phantom Sorrow going against Jeff Gaylord.
Hey, a title contender match. Yeah, the #1 contender, Spellbinder. Well, #1 contender because he was so anointed by Sid Vicious. Spellbinder will be going against Buddy Landell. Are they both legitimate contenders? Yep, probably so. Winner of the match, title contender.
Return lumberjack match. We had it right here on TV. The end of it was a little different on account of because of the interference and so forth. No disqualification when Miss Texas and Fantasia will have guys around the ring to throw them back in.
Well, the Moondogs, holders of the USWA World Tag Team titles, are going to be defending against the team you just saw right here. And I must say they are impressive. I think the Moondogs better keep their eyes open for Beauty and the Beast, Ron Harris and gorgeous Jimmy Harris. This one's shaping up to be quite a match.
Yeah, the Moondogs have not for a moment forgotten Ron and Don Harris, so they'll be seeing Ron back in there with a brand new cousin, gorgeous Jimmy Harris, in that tag title match. Then comes the Unified World Heavyweight title match. First time ever, a fan is going to be selected. A drawing will take place. A fan will be selected, and that fan becomes matchmaker for a night. And off the card of wrestlers that will be at the Mid-South Coliseum Monday night, they will pick an opponent for Sid Vicious, who has said he is so confident he will wrestle anybody they pick. You know what I got thinking when you were talking about Spellbinder being #1 contender? Supposing the fan picks Spellbinder, and Sid has to get in there and face his #1 contender. What about Jerry Lawler?
Absolutely, who Sid has said, Lawler's at his last chance. He's not wrestling anymore, but he's bound by the rules. If a fan says, I pick Jerry Lawler, then it's Jerry Lawler against Sid Vicious. This could be one of the Moondogs.
Oh, yes, it could be. You better believe Spot could be in there wailing away with boards and being the unified heavyweight champion.
Could be the superstar, Bill Dundee. Big Sid Vicious against the superstar, small of stature but big in heart. What a night.
That is going to be exciting right there. But that's not all of it. How about this 6-man? I'm telling you, we could talk about that all day in itself.
I'm telling you, with a superstar addition to that team of Lawler and Brian Christopher, that's going to even it up. It's been 3 against 2, 3 against 2, when you have Scott Bowden running around, jumping on people's back, Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert, Scott Bowden, all of them in the ring, and you see their competition, including superstar Bill Dundee. What a night.
And he is used to being in those kind of brawls like we saw a little bit earlier today.
Yeah.
You want to be there, I'll tell you, 7:30 is the start time. I'd get there early, get your tickets. Get them today if you'd care to, and son of a gun, be ready for the action. Hey, we've still got our main event to go here in just a moment.
We do indeed. We're going to have Miss Texas and the Moondogs against Fantasia and the Phantom.
Okay, the main event today on USWA Wrestling. Making our way to the ring, led by Fantasia, at a combined weight of 474 pounds from the Theater of Pain. Here are Sorrow and Tragedy, the Phantoms. Their opponents today in this big main event, led by Miss Texas, 690 pounds from the swamps in Louisiana, Rex and Spot. The Moondogs, we're ready to go. A 6-person tag, Moondogs and Miss Texas versus the Phantoms and Fantasia.
I don't know about you, Dave, but anytime the Moondogs are announced there in this... Oh, look out. I automatically push my chair back a little ways, so it's an easy escape, because these guys are so wild.
That's a good move. I noticed Corey very wisely didn't tarry too long in the ring when he saw the Moondogs coming through there. Man, we all got out of the way when the Moondogs hit the building, and they are here right now. Oh, look out. There comes one of the Phantoms, both of the Phantoms now out of the ring, down on the floor. Here comes a Moondog. Well, this time he throws him back in the ring. I had my chair back further than yours that time.
That's the right direction right there. Throw him that way. Throw him that way. Ooh, Rex just rattling hard on Tragedy as he pounds with it. We're down to a tag team format. That is, one man from each team in there. We started out with all 3 going as Miss Texas. Oh, look at here. The whip. Whoa. And then followed by Spot. And the Phantoms mashed into the corner. It's a good thing Fantasia, when there's not much of her to begin with, she would have been nothing but a Spot.
And the Moondog throws him right back in the ring and then crawls in there after it. Man, you talk about some huge, wild wrestlers. You're looking at them right there, the Moondog. I don't have to tell you that. You know the Moondog. Well, by the way, Miss Texas and Fantasia are legal participants in this match, so if one of them is tagged, the other should come in. At least that's the way that rule is supposed to work in this match.
Looking at the Moondogs and having seen Ron Harris out with his new cousin partner, gorgeous Jimmy Harris, remembering those Bruce brothers, that's the Harris twins, battle with the Moondogs. Those were some classic brawls because all four of them know how to brawl.
And you got size on both sides of the ring in that situation. Jimmy Harris not quite as big as Ron and Don, but he's big enough, let me tell you.
And the Phantoms with Rex over in the corner, and they're taking advantage of it. Burying the shoulder, followed by some punches to the head, a drop kick, and Rex, who needs, what he's missing is a trash can or a board, Dave. That's why he's feeling a little out of place up there right at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right. A little less hardware, much less hardware than we're used to in here.
Yeah.
They did bring those big bones. They've got them over in the corner, I see. Parked safely over there, we hope.
And a headbutt, and again from the Phantom. They're trying to soften this guy up. I got to tell you, they got a whole lot of pounding to do before they get him on his knees.
One of them was holding him in the corner while the other one popped him there. And now Fantasia grabs him by the hair.
And the Phantoms continue. One on each side, pounding away, and Miss Texas comes across there to try to get their attention and get some of the heat off of the Moondog. Here comes Miss Texas on the outside, grabs a hold of Fantasia, pulls her down on the floor. She wasn't successful in getting the Phantoms off, but she got Fantasia's attention, and Fantasia says, out of here.
Yeah, she left. She's gone. She went flying through the door. Miss Texas headed back over to her corner.
Well, that...
Meanwhile, the Moondog moves out of the way. Here he comes off the ropes. Boom! The Phantom Liner. There's the other one. This is over, I think. Yeah, it is. How could he possibly get up with two Moondogs on top of him? Wow.
The winners, Rex and Spot, the Moondogs over the Phantoms, and of course Miss Texas and Fantasia also. We got to take time out. We'll be back. Big final word. What did we tell you? $2 off, kids 12 and under, any section. I don't care what ticket, ringside or up there, wherever you want to be.
You don't want to miss it. Moondogs are going to be defending the USWA tag titles against Beauty and the Beast, Ron Harris and gorgeous Jimmy Harris. They're big, they're tough.
And we're looking forward to having the first time ever a fan become matchmaker for a night, is able to take a selection from the participants on the card, and they will go against the unified world heavyweight champion, Sid Vicious.
The possibilities of that one are just mind-boggling. Could it be Lawler? Could it be Spellbinder? Who might it be? Find out Monday. Tommy Rich, yeah. Monday night we find out, and that's not all. The big second main event of the night. Six-man tag team action. Tommy Rich, Doug Gilbert, Scott Bowden, all in the ring. You got the King, Jerry Lawler. You got Brian Christopher and their partner, the superstar, Bill Dundee. Double main event night. A huge night at the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum.
And just in case it's in the back of your mind, as it always is in mine, no, there is no increase in price. You better believe it is going to be a big one. For Corey Macklin, Dave Brown, Lance Russell saying, thanks for coming. See you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Till we reach another town. dead. You'll hear them say, man, it's a rock and roll band, by the look and the clothes they wear. Then you telephone home, 'cause you're feeling alone, and try to think of something to say. Seems all you get are tears of regret for being gypsies, gypsies on parade. Gypsies on parade, vagabonds that got it made. They don't know what they've been told about the diamond rings and fancy things we wear. They don't know what dues we pay for being gypsies, gypsies on parade. Home is where the heart is, but the heart is never home. As I count the white lines and these exit signs, it's this guitar is all I ever hold. But the stories we can tell, or the stories we tell, make better all the time spent away from family and friends. Oh, it never ends for gypsies, gypsies on parade. Gypsies on parade, vagabonds that got it made. They don't know what they've been told about the diamond rings and fancy things we wear. They don't know what dues we pay for being gypsies.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.
Out of Charlotte,